All right. So, first thing I want to do, I mean, because I don't know what name you want to use, so that's up to you.
Okay.
But
Okay.
so I'll go ahead. I'll get it started, and you can interrupt whenever you want if you feel like you need to.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing I want to say is, okay, you are aware that I'm recording this conversation.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, introduce yourself for the people that don't know who I'm talking to.
Okay. My name is Michael Dorrough. In prison, I go by the Swahili name Dorrough, and over the years, I've had the nickname Blade at the Nickerson Gardens. And when I first came to prison back in the 1970s, so my name is Michael Dorrough.
Okay, and you grew up in Watts.
Well, my family and I moved out here to California in August of 1968 from Cleveland, Ohio, and I lived in Watts since 1968.
Okay, where about in Watts, in the Nickerson Gardens?
Yeah, I grew up primarily in the Nickerson Gardens. When we first came out to California between 1968 and I would say like early 1970s, I was at 109th Street Park. That's a little recreation park right next door to the Nickerson Gardens. But from 1970 on, yes, I was in the Nickerson Gardens all my life.
What schools did you attend when you came to L.A.?
I attended and graduated from Gompers Junior High School. That was on the what we called the East Side at that time in Los Angeles, over by off Main and San Pedro. I also went to Locke High School for a little while, and I went to Jordan High for several months as well.
Okay, when you was in high school, was there any Crips and Bloods going to school with you then?
No, well, when I first came out here in 1968, no. There was no such thing as blood at that time at all. Blood was actually a term that everybody used. Blood was a word that was synonymous with brother. Like, what's happening, brother? Mm-hmm. So everybody used blood, including brothers who eventually became Crips. Mexicans who grew up in Watts, they all used the term blood for that reason right there.
All right. So, do you know anything about the Green Jackets?
Oh, yeah. I was a member of the Green Jackets. The Green Jackets started in the latter 1960s, maybe 1969, 1970, I think. Everybody in Watts, all of the projects, Jordan Downs, the Imperial Court, the Haciendas, the Nickerson Gardens, 109th Street Park, all of the projects and all the Watts in particular were basically hooked up in the Green Jackets.
Who would you give credit to as founder of the Green Jackets?
Actually, it was like at 109th Street Park. A brother that was up there, an older cat that took me under his wing, named Michael Calhoun. He was the first person that I seen wearing, and basically just started like as a club. Everybody started wearing jackets, army jackets, the fatigue jackets. But it was Michael Calhoun was the first person that I had remembered seeing with a green jacket on. And the idea of it becoming like a club of sorts. Michael Calhoun was the person that I seem to remember first coming up with that kind of concept right there.
What did Michael Calhoun eventually become part of?
Well, Michael was just like up at 109th Street Park. Michael Calhoun, he was cats up there that took him under their wing, like Michael Calhoun, his brother George Calhoun, the Solomon brothers, Floyd, Brother Solomon. Brother was a hog who had a vicious reputation with his hands in Watts at that time right there. The Pierce brothers, Gene and Mac Pierce, Andre, the Monk brothers, Fred and Carl. They were not a member of any gang or clubs. Like we all just considered ourselves to be actually park boys. That was the term that was used in reference to guys in Watts, out of 109th Street Park. We just referred to ourselves initially as park boys. And those were the older guys right there, Joe Thomas and people like that, that actually were responsible for the term park boy, 109th Street Park boy.
Okay. Are you familiar with Tyrone Tate?
Tyrone and I grew up together. Tyrone was actually one of my best friends. Tyrone and I used to literally like run together. When I was going to Jordan High School, Tyrone, Alfred Trotter, Ronald and Donald Trotter. It was another set of twins, Ronald and Donald. So Tyrone, Alfred. Tyrone had a brother named, or has a brother named Earl Tate as well. And we were all road dogs when we was growing up. We used to be together on a regular basis.
So the Jordan Downs and Nickerson Gardens and Hacienda, everybody got along back then.
Oh no, for sure. Like the projects in Watts in particular, and I would actually say the Nickerson Gardens and the Jordan Downs specifically had this kind of relationship. My oldest son, well, his mother was at the Jordan Downs. As a matter of fact, my oldest son and his sister, like, I have an older son named Michael Dorrough. His mother's name is Eileen. Eileen also has 2 children by Alfred Trotter. So my son is actually the brother of Alfred's children as well. Tyrone, by extension, in his family, his sister, his brother Earl had children by my son's mother, her sister as well. So my son is also related by blood to Tyrone's nephews, Earl's sons, and stuff like that also. So, you know, some of my dad's most trusted friends, again, like Alfred, Tyrone Tate, Tyrone, I know Tyrone's whole family was out the Jordan Downs. We all used to run together real tough.
Okay. Are you familiar with that Hickory Street?
So when I was growing up, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I want to say Crips, the Hickory Street Crips. Was you familiar with them?
Yeah, they started a little bit later. When the Crips, initially what had happened was when Raymond Washington and Raymond was good friends as well. But when Raymond Washington started the Crips, the idea was to actually turn all of Los Angeles into Crips. There was a series of meetings and a couple of the housing projects, including the Nickerson Gardens, with Raymond and a few other brothers, with some of us, about turning Crips. The Jordan Downs, the Haciendas, the Imperial Courts, and the Nickerson Gardens, we had conversations with each other previously, and we had made a commitment to ourselves that we were just going to stick together. Like Watts was going to remain Watts. Free any kind of influences like that right there. So that was initially the understanding right there. And at that point, there was no Crips and Watts at that time right there. There were no gangs. You're talking about 1970, 71, up until right around 1972.
All right. So you and Raymond was actually friends?
Oh yeah, me and Raymond was partners. My mother and father owned property on 109th Place. That's right across the street from Rock High School. Raymond used to go with this little sister named Patricia Washington at that time, and she stayed right around the corner from my mother and father. Raymond used to actually come over to my mother and father's house, and me and him used to sit and chop it up there at my mother and father's house in the 1970s. While he was, in the process of putting Crips together. Other guys like Mac Thomas and I, we stayed on 103rd at one time, right down the street from the Thomas family. And quite a few people thought Mac and I were cousins and stuff. That's how close we was. Me and Mac used to actually run together. We used to get our party on with the same women together and stuff like that there. I stayed right across the street from the mother of his oldest son, Baby Doll. He stayed right across the street from my parents and stuff as well. But me and Mac is really tight. Me and his whole family, but especially me, Mac, and his brother Henry, prior to passing away.
Okay. So, but you didn't go to school with Raymond?
No. Raymond stayed over on the west side.
Right.
Went to school over like on the west side. I went to Lock and Johnson and stuff. But Raymond used to be over in that area.
Right. How about Mac Thomas? Did you go to school with him?
Yeah. Well, no. Mac went. I was going to Gompers, and when I was going to Gompers, my sister and brother and I, Mac and Ricky Silas, they went to Markham. So we didn't go to. And then when I graduated from Gompers and started going to Locke, Mac was going to Locke for a little while then, and then I started going to Jordan.
Okay. Let me ask you about a couple people. I just want to know if you knew them, if you were good friends with them or not. Little James, James Compton.
with James Compton.
Uh-huh.
Well, I know James. James had a child by a sister named Deborah Tillman
Right.
that I used to that I grew up with and everything. Me and James knew each other. We was in juvenile hall together. But in particular, me and James, I knew James by reputation, and he was one of the Crips that I had a great deal of respect for also.
Okay. How about Mad Dog? Him and Moto?
Me and Moto and Mad Dog, me and Mad Dog was in the county jail together back in the 70s before I went to prison. That's why I actually met both of them. That's right there. Moto and I was in the county jail in 1973, right before I went to the penitentiary.
Okay.
He was in the county jail then. And we got a chance to actually sit down in the county jail, and we used to all get along with each other. They were there. James Miller was there. Eddie Haythorne, Kenny Carter. We were all right there in the county jail together at that time.
Okay, and all them was Eastside Crips, right?
Exactly. Yeah, all of them was Eastside Crips. You had Crazy Crips and EP, Ugly Tommy. They were all from Q102 Crips at that time.
Okay. What was y'all beefing yet or not?
Oh yeah, we was right in. Well, what happened was the Bounty Hunters was formed in response to a series of shootings that took place in the Nickerson Gardens. Nobody got hurt. But it was an effort by some Crips to flip all of the project into watch. And several of us had sat down in the Nickersons, had a conversation with each other. And a brother named Tony Barker is actually the dude that came up with the name Bounty Hunters. Ray was in YA at the time. He was in Miller's. Ray, Terry Moses, Calvin Rice. So it was me, Junior Thomas, Tony Barker, Gary Barker, Joe Barker, Junior Thomas, and Mo Mad Dog Willis. We were all right there at the meeting when we made it. And by the end, the Jordan Downs that became Crips, the Imperial Courts that became Crips. So we had sat down, had a conversation with each other, and the conversation had to do with all needing to come together so that we could start protecting ourselves and looking out for ourselves. Because, everybody in the Nickerson Gardens went to school at Markham and at Jordan High School. So we had to come up with something in order to protect people from, being jumped on and stuff like that there. So we sat down, talked, and Tony Barker is the one that came up with the name Bounty Hunters.
And one more guy, my guy, he wrote a book. I'm sure you're familiar with Johnny Blair.
Yeah, that's my buddy. Yeah, me and Johnny will go way back too.
Right. Y'all go back to the beginning of Bounty Hunter. Am I correct?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yes, we did. As a matter of fact, Johnny and myself were two of the first Bounty Hunters to go to the penitentiary.
Okay. And you went to the pen in 73 or 74?
I got arrested in 73 on a murder charge. I beat it. So it was dismissed. I got out and got rearrested on that and another murder charge. A little sister out in Nickerson Gardens, somebody was accused of raping her. And I caught a case on, I caught murders on the case on the people that were supposed to have raped her. And I went to prison in 1974.
When you was in the county jail or when you got to prison, did you run across Raymond?
Oh, no, I already knew Raymond.
I know, but did you run across him while you was locked up?
No. Raymond was in Tracy in, I think, 1973. But I didn't get to prison until 1974. And the first prison I went to was San Quentin. I was like 19. San Quentin was the first prison I went to. And I caught some cases in San Quentin. And I was putting the shoe. And while I was doing my shoe term, I went to Tracy. And Raymond was gone by then.
Okay. All right. So Raymond was already in prison when you got to prison.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. Okay, now, so what I want to know, you kind of answered it, but what was it in your recollection that really caused the Bounty Hunters and the Crips to become rivals?
Well, it was really, it was just all about, initially, as it related to the Nickerson Gardens, the Bounty Hunters grew out of a response to a series of shootings that took place.
Right.
But at some point, it just became all about, like protecting one's turf.